Welcome to Simply Safety version 6 setup movie number 1. This movie is intended to provide the IT department with an overview of relevant features in the Simply Safety setup module. Most setup module features are normally managed by the safety manager. We will cover these items: a high-level overview of major components, notes on the automatic upgrade feature for the front end, entering the license key, outbound email setup fields, how to find release notes, how to find and set IT System Information tab preferences, advanced update feature, how to trigger an automatic shutdown of clients, how to locate and or move the shared data directory, and where to find the import-export feature. This diagram is a quick look at the typical setup on a network for Simply Safety. The client machines are equipped with Simply Safety front end called kccsafety.accde, which is a packaged Microsoft Access 2010 file. The machine also requires Microsoft Access 2010 runtime, which is loaded if necessary, needs outbound email port available to send emails, and it needs a web connection to upgrade itself. The backend database, Simply Safety backend database, by default is a SQL Server 2008 Express, instance name SQL Express, and database name KCC Safety. The database may be imported to a full version of SQL Server. It requires mixed mode authentication. Typically on the server is loaded the images directory. Simply Safety uses this directory to store documents and file attachments. This directory must have full read-write-create permissions for all users. The Simply Safety Alert program, which sends scheduled email alerts on expiring items, is typically loaded onto one machine running 24/7. That machine requires the .NET 4.0 framework. It monitors the database for expiring items and sends email alerts. This could be any client machine that runs 24/7, or Simply Safety Alert can be loaded to the network server. This app is intended for the use of one person only and is often loaded to the Safety Manager's workstation. It requires access to the SQL Server database and outbound email capability. When Simply Safety starts, it checks the KnowledgeWare website for upgrades. If an upgrade patch exists, it is downloaded via FTP and the front-end client is upgraded. This will occur on each client machine running Simply Safety. The user simply needs to know to click the button if they want the upgrade. The program will shut down for up to several minutes during this process. If running on the machine, the Simply Safety Alert program will be terminated. Note, there are options in the setup module to allow you to control these upgrades locally. We will look at this functionality later in this movie. I've opened up the Simply Safety setup module, and the important information here is in the green fields. That's your license key information for your company. This system has already had a license key entered, but before that happened, when the raw database is first created, when you open the setup module, before you enter your license key, there'll be a button at the bottom of the screen in this area here that says Delete Demo Data, because there's a certain amount of demo data in the database when it's first shipped out. You want to click on that button before you add your license key to the system, because once you add your license key, that Delete Demo Data button will disappear. So step one, go in here and delete the demo data, and then add your license key, copy and paste it if you can from the email sent to you by KnowledgeWare. Now these three green fields are matched. Your license key has to match the exact name of the company and the exact address as sent to you. For instance, if I were to drop the period off the end of corp here, that would break a license key. So make sure that these three fields are all matched. The rest of the information on the screen is really just a convenient place to store things. If you're an American company and using the OSHA logs, you may want to fill in this establishment name field here. I've just clicked on the Preferences tab to move to the next form. Most of the information on the left is all optional. I'm just going to cover the options that may be of interest to the IT department here. Number one is this button here, Select Database at Next Startup. If it becomes necessary to connect to another SQL database, you simply click this button, and the next time the program starts up, it's going to ask you to browse to the other database. Just below it is an important checkbox, Enable Automatic Email Notification module. There's a module that should be set up by the Safety Manager which sends outbound emails when the data that's entered as Simply Safety meets a specific parameter. For instance, if an inspection is added, or if a first aid or an injury is added, that a summary of that would get sent to the to another manager. Okay, Simply Safety uses three forms of outbound email. It has its own email components. It's not using Outlook or anything else on your system. It doesn't do anything with inbound email. It just sends the outbound email. The first level of email is you click a button and it sends an email. The second level is this one here, automatic email notification, which you may or may not turn on. And the third level is sent out by the accessory program, separate program, Simply Safety Alert, which sends scheduled email reports. So if the safety manager desires to use automatic email notification, that checkbox must be turned on. I'm going to go next to tab 4. This is a fairly simple form for setting up outbound email. Your mail server TCP port number is required. Port 25 is often the default, and an SMTP mail server name. If you're using mail server authentication, check the checkbox and fill in the username and password. The next tab is Release Notes, which may be of use to the IT department. It's just a list of changes that have been made. Okay, I've clicked on the IT System Information tab, and this is exclusively for the use of the IT department. The information at the top of the screen is just some information on where files are loaded and what versions they are. Backend database version from KnowledgeWare 6.0.0. It's located on a machine called Server 2, and that's the database name on that machine. This is the couple of access files and where they're located. Important checkbox here, the first with an orange background highlight. That checkbox requires, if it's checked, it requires user to run updates when they're available. It forces all users to accept automatic web updates when they become available, and it's recommended to keep all machines on the same version. Now, some IT departments may not want to accept updates off the KnowledgeWare website without testing them. In that case, this checkbox below, called Advanced Update Options, recommended only for advanced IT users, is available. I'm just going to check on it. That adds some more fields below. This allows you to set a custom location for downloaded Simply Safety update files. So there's two fields here. By default, they're set to the KnowledgeWare website, teamss.ca website, where the file upgrades are downloaded from. But if you want to deploy these files yourself and test them before they're deployed, you can use these two fields. In order to use this, you'd have to contact KnowledgeWare and download the file upgrades manually and put them somewhere on your local network. This first field is where they're placed upon your local network for the users to upgrade from that location. The second field below is a place that you can put the files prior to releasing them locally, where they can be tested from. So if I was to get the files manually from KnowledgeWare, I would probably set up a location on the local network to put them. I'd type that path into the second field here below, and then I'd select the test machines. And on this network, we've got these machines, and any of these machines that would run Simply Safety on the network, they'd be using the test version. So once you're satisfied that the test version is good, then you can deploy it by moving it to either the path that's in this field or creating a new location for it. There's two important features at the bottom of the form. The first is Start Administrative Shutdown. That's a checkbox, and if I check that, it would start the shutdown of all the Simply Safety clients within 5 minutes. And you may use that if you want to do systems maintenance or upgrade the system and just want to make sure everybody's off there. It's important, once you're finished with the upgrade, to come back into the Setup module and uncheck this checkbox, or else this will start the process all over again. On the right hand side of the screen is a way to select a shared data folder. Now, Simply Safety links to documents such as PDF files, Word documents, images, movies. Any of those documents, anything that will run on your network, can be linked to Simply Safety, to people or events or incidents, etc. those documents are physically stored in a shared data folder. By default, that shared data folder is called Images, and it's placed normally on the network server in a shared location. This feature is here in case you want to select another location for the shared data folder, or you want to move the shared data folder. If you choose Move, it will make a copy of all the files in the Images directory and subdirectories and move it to the new folder. Right at the bottom of the screen on the left and available on all tabs are two buttons, one called Import, the other called Export. Export simply exports tables to Excel, which has to be on your machine if you're going to use it. And the import is a feature that the IT department might be involved with when the program is originally set up. So if you click on Import, it opens to this form. There's two tabs here, one for people, importing people from an Excel spreadsheet, and there's an Excel spreadsheet ship and is installed in a Simply Safety folder on each client machine. By default, it's called people.xls. There's fairly detailed instructions under a button at the bottom of the screen here, Import Instructions. So that's how you import people. And the other tab is for importing incidents, and import instructions for incidents also included under this button. We'll cover this feature more thoroughly in another movie. It's just an orientation to it.